please take a moment to increase the brightness on your device for optimal viewing. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Sketchy Friendler, where every day I tell you a story and I draw a picture to go along with it. So today I'm going to tell you about the major flood that I was in. But before that, real quick, I do draw in blue to begin with. Yes, you're correct. However, I will get into drawing with regular graphite soon. Just bear with me. Second, if you cannot see what I am drawing, it is too dark, just crank up the brightness all the way up on your viewing device and you'll be able to see it better. And last, if you are on your cell phone and this image is too small, then be sure to turn your phone horizontal so it fills up the screen. All right, with that, let's do this. So it is storming outside, and I have been thinking about, well, I'm in Florida now, but as a child, I lived in Northern California, in the Bay Area to be precise. And right now, they are experiencing a massive heat wave, the likes of which I have never experienced in all my years that I did live there. I mean, we're talking getting up to like 117 degrees, 100, I've never seen that ever. I mean, it's been like low hundreds, but never like Arizona, like hot ever. So I can't imagine what that must be like. But it made me think about, this is really different from my experience as a little kid there. I mean, the weather has changed. If you don't know about California currently, there's like a fire season now. That never was the case when I was a kid. I also have noticed, like since the early 2000s or maybe the late 90s even, that the weather's gotten slightly more humid when it gets hot. It wasn't like that when I was little. I've noticed more air pollution, like looking across the bay, being more smoggy, which when I was a little kid, there wasn't smog. And then the other thing was in the winter in California, Northern California at least, it would rain, especially as we got into like February, like massive rains all the time, like kind of like what I'm experiencing now, but like it would never let up. And there was a couple of years when I was I'm going to say in grammar school, elementary school, where the weather was so bad that it flooded. And, there was, houses sliding down hills and people having to get water pumps to pump out their basements. I mean, like real flooding. Like I remember one year, like you may live in a place where you have snow season when wintertime it snows, and that probably at some point during the winter you're going to get, if you're a kid or when you were a kid, you're going to get a snow day off. Where I grew up, we didn't have anything like that. We didn't get days off because of the weather. It never got that bad, except one year it had been just coming down like in sheets, just raining cats and dogs for days and days. And one morning, I remember listening to my favorite radio station, and there being this, they were talking about the flooding and this before school. So it was like, must have been like 6:37. And I remember them, the radio station saying that, the Bay Area was flooding, blah, blah, blah. And here's a list of schools who are closed because of the flooding. And I listened, man, I was listening because I was just praying that my school would be listed among those. So I listened for a while, nothing. And then they came back around eventually where they listed the schools. And lo and behold, my school was listed as one of the schools that was shut down. I was so happy. I couldn't tell you. I was cheering. And I don't think even my parents went to work because they couldn't get into work. I remember we lived up on a hill. So the rain was definitely coming down, but we didn't have to worry about any rain flooding where we lived. I remember one of my friends, their whole basement got completely flooded. They were sandbagging, and then they ended up having to get a water pump, and it was horrible. And I feel really bad for a lot of those people because, like, people, like, seriously, like, afterwards, like, we saw, like, there was a house that slid all the way down the hill, and I don't know if there was anybody in it or not, but I mean, the property damage was massive. That never happens in Northern California anymore. There's a horrible drought there right now, and I talked about that on my TikTok page if you didn't catch that. Yeah, it never happens anymore. Like, it's the farthest from that kind of a weather as you can get these days. It's just sad. I mean, it's one's extreme to the other, but man, I'm sure everybody's wishing it would get like that, at least a couple of days like that in the Bay Area now. And I don't like to make light of it because, it was horrible. Like, I remember they actually showed the street that my school was on, and like there was somebody like rowing down it, and like they had like some little canoe, and it was bad. It was bad, and I feel bad because I think some people may have perished in that. I was too little to know. I just was so happy that I finally get a day off from school because of the weather. As a first grader, or whatever grade I was in, third grade, I don't remember. It was early 80s, I think. I didn't have to go to school. I mean, how cool is that? I mean, anybody who grew up in a place where they have snow days, I'm sure they as a little kid, they probably love it, right? But you don't know, like, really what's going on. So, some bad things are happening while it's going on. You don't know that, like, but it really is interesting to me, like, how weather can be so different. And I'm not remembering it wrong. Like, it was totally different than it is now. And we can get into why. I mean, that's not really what I do on my page, but I mean, this observation is legitimate. Like, California has gone from a place that used to have water, at least in the 80s, because I know there was a drought before that in the 70s, but from when I was a little kid to now, totally different. This was me cheering. So happy. So grateful for the rain, and not because we needed it, but because I just wanted a day off. What a funny kid. I guess not out of the ordinary for a kid to feel that way, right? But it's just something to think about. Like, I think probably if I told people that live there now, they would be like, that's totally weird, because that is not my experience of the Bay Area. It does not rain like that. But it did. It used to. Doesn't anymore, but it used to. I mean, what about where you guys live? It might not be the same. It might be the exact opposite. Maybe where you used to live, it was super dry where you were, and now it's rains too much. Or maybe there used to be harsher winters where you used to get snow days, and now the kids these days, they don't get as many snow days. I don't know. Everybody's experience is different depending on where you live. But I don't recall, I just moved in the last few years, but I mean, it's been at least, decades, me remembering like torrential downpours like it used to be when I was a kid. Does anybody remember? Does anybody from the Bay Area that remembers the flooding? There was like rock slides, like there were some like freeways, parts of the freeway they had to shut down because like all these rocks fell down near the Golden Gate Bridge. I remember they had to clean all that up. Saw the erosion that happened. And then I know other parts of California have had, horrible flooding. And like my aunt, for instance, she lives in Santa Barbara, and like she lives in an area where there was massive, because of the fires burnt down all the trees, so then you don't have anything holding any of the dirt together, and then rain happened and all these massive landslides happened, and a lot of people perished in those landslides. And on either side of where she lives, basically like totally got taken out. Fortunately, their home was spared, but I mean, they saw the results of all the mudslides, and it's really scary. So I definitely am not trying to make light of this. This is how a little kid might perceive, from their point of view, because they don't know really what's going on or the ramifications. All right. Zoom on out here, you guys. Scoot it over here. There you go. All right. So, just so you know, I did. You're seeing this now. I've been doing this for a week, so we're catching up now, and I've got a good buffer. And I'm back Monday through Friday. You get a drawing on YouTube and Facebook. Me doing this, talking to you. Instagram, I post these finished pictures the day following, And then on TikTok, I do completely different videos. They're shorter, about 2.5 minutes or so each, and shorter topic. And it's time lapse, so I get all the way up through the inking process. That's separate than these guys, which you guys vote on these Monday through Friday drawings. We put a poll up on Saturday, and whichever one you guys vote on Sunday, I do a live where we do finish up coloring and inking, and then we chat to you guys too at the same time. So that said, you know where to find me, and I will be here regularly. All right, folks. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And I will see you next time. Bye.